What do you collect? Show me your collection. You're my one of one. You're my kind of obsession. My big break.
This segment is brought to you by NBA Top Shot. Who we have? We have CigarBoxCards. We have Crypto Slabs. Guys, how we doing? How's everything?
Yeah, hey, Paulie.
What up?
Awesome. Anytime we're talking hobby stuff is a good day.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is great. All right. I'm glad
Great to be part of the first episode.
Yeah, this is it. It's monumental here, guys.
We're
like
of many.
Neil Armstrong over here. First on the moon, first on the podcast. Look at us.
Yeah.
Very nice. Where no man has gone before. Imagine if you grew up in Chicago in the 80s and 90s and you're not a Bulls fan, but you like basketball. Like, really?
Guys, we triggered for the second time in a row on a guest break. Our bonus, Connor Griffin, first overall prospect in Major League Baseball.
Very nice.
There it is. Took till box 6, but we did get the Connor Griffin, and everybody's going to get 1,000 bonus points.
Last night, all of a sudden, news breaks that there's a possibility the Cavs are deep in discussions with the LA Clippers in a Darius Garland trade that would net us James Harden, and there's other factors to it. But what do you think about that? And the idea that the Cavs would go after a guy like James Harden, would you be up for that or not up for that on its face?
I'm a marketplace founder, and marketplaces are Uber, Airbnb, Amazon. Uber, you have a rider and a driver. Airbnb, you have a host and a guest. Anything where there's like this chicken and egg problem that's really hard to solve, and that's what all these marketplaces are facing.
What the hell is this? Wow, that thing's huge. I put it next to my graduation photo in the living room. With NBA Top Shot and some of them, I mean, you're going for moments, you're going for the live look of everything and everything you're talking about. Do you think it's right to even call like it's a niche kind of thing, or do you think it's actually beyond that? When I met him in person, is the first time he saw something like this, and he was taken back. He kind of had a good couple of minutes there. He was talking about it where it's a play of his. So he's there watching this whole play on this actual, display that I have. So it's pretty cool that something like that I think exists, because I love collecting cards. But a lot of times I'm there looking at the static shot and I'm like, okay, now I got a replay in my head.
Remember Garbage Pail Kids?
There was something, but I don't know if you ever saw the movie. If you did, well, you're in for a treat with that.
You'd always check if they used your name. And even if it was in what usually wasn't a bad connotation, you still would thought it was cool. It could be like Smelly Johnny or
Grease and Greg. You were the one that looked like the Fonz. That was my favorite.
Hey, Paulie. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your pod. What do you collect? And I want to say something, pal. Keep spreading the joy in this hobby. No doubt about it. You are a gem, my friend. An absolute gem. And I'm looking forward to doing more things with you in the future. Let's do this together, right? That's what we need to do as a hobby, right? Is do it together. Because that's what it's all about. That's the joy, man. Thanks again, Paulie.
But there's something in my pocket, and you guys have to try to figure out what it is. And you only get one guess per round. I'll tell you when the round starts, and you can guess. Then I'll tell you when the round's over. At the end of each round, I
can't believe this many people have never played this before.
I will give you a clue, and then you can guess again. So just
talking MLB, we're talking with Johnathan Fink, author of some great baseball books.
About a college professor named Kevin Dempsey who's obsessed with baseball.
I'll talk about the Phillies. The WizWit sandwiches are my favorite, by the way. You got to go with the Wiz, and you got to go with the with onion. You can't do nothing less. I mean,
between you and me, I go provolone.
No, you go provolone. What is this? All right, here we go. Here's the What Do You Collect Live baseball stream. How we all feeling here today, fellas?
There we go. Let's go.
Was that a little
tomorrow? Yankees Giants, baby.
Enough of an intro of all this fun that we've been having here. Just appreciate everybody, that all the fun that we've had in past episodes. Just wanted you to bring everybody back so we could talk about the start of this big MLB season, where we left off last year in the World Series with everything. I don't know, the Dodgers going to win another one, or let's just talk about your favorite team and where you think they're going to place this season. Also, we're doing some cool giveaways over in the Collectin and Connectin Discord. We're going to have an Amazon gift card. There's going to be a Fanatics gift card. There's going to be a digital moment, an NFL All Day moment going out there of Kyler Murray, who was also a baseball drafted by the A's. He played baseball. So there's our connection to that. And as you know, this is sponsored by NBA Top Shot and all the fun collectibles at Dapper Labs. Check it out, and we're going to get started. We're going to get started with our buddy Ethan over here. We want to talk some Cleveland sports. So what do we got here with the Guardians? How they looking to you this season?
You know, done a lot of Guardians talk, and just finished up with going nuclear, and we were discussing our outlook for the Guardians this season. Last year, they scuffled along. We had to overcome great odds when all of a sudden you get word that a pitcher we had acquired and traded, Luis Ortiz, is under investigation for gambling, and and then your closer, Emmanuel Clase, who possibly could have been like in the running for a Cy Young the year before. He's involved as well. Yet somehow the Guardians managed to keep things together, and against all odds. And when I say against all odds, I mean against all odds. They overcame a 15.5 game deficit behind the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers got the last laugh in the playoffs, but I mean, for them to do what they did and go to a 6-man rotation at the end of the season and get into the playoffs was absolutely amazing on its, just in and of itself. The lack of spending that is done by that ownership group is absolutely astounding. I mean, I want to talk to the guy, and he keeps telling me,
I do not have the money. Okay.
What do you mean?
I do not have the money. Okay.
All right. So you don't have the money, but the Dolans, they don't want to spend on anybody big. We certainly, we've made some moves, and I like the past couple days and yesterday, we're seeing some youngsters do some great things. You're probably going to hear the name Chase DeLauder frequently, and hopefully after they're done manipulating service time, our number 1 overall pick from a couple years ago, Travis Bazzana, will make his way to the majors. I would like to see them get 90 wins and win the division. That would be a goal there, but I think it's going to be very difficult. Detroit's going to be tough.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I love the way the Guardians have been playing, as far as how they've been competitive the last couple seasons here. I mean, they're really putting together a lot of young talent. We got any other Cleveland fans out here? We got a big cast here today. Just seeing what else we got. Timmy, who we pulling for down there? Who we pulling for this season?
The Pirates, baby. I gotta go Pirates, and this is why. Like I was an Expos fan growing up, and I'm an underdog guy, man. I really am. I've been following them probably for a while now. I've become more of a dedicated fan, probably more recently. I love Skeens. I love Bubba Chandler. I love this staff that they have. Mitch Keller. I think it's going to be probably a relief by committee this year. We'll see. I mean, obviously, that's sort of like a chemistry project. You got to mix things up a little bit and see what you can come up with. The big question is, does Connor Griffin start with the big, at the big league level? He had some bright spots, during spring training. I think the squad itself, they have run potential. This year, they have run potential. whether that materializes to runs is a whole nother question. And again, I'm not here trying to preach and tell you that the Pirates are going to win it all or whatever. I think that they're going to compete this year. I think that there's the opportunity to compete. I think that I think it's going to be fun to watch. Like, I think that division's going to be fun to watch with the Cubbies and the Reds and the Brewers. I think it's going to be, it'll be interesting. I don't know much about the Cardinals this year. I've watched a few pieces, so I don't want to tell you that I know enough about what the Cardinals, offer this year. But, what I'm hearing is Cubs, Brewers, Reds, Pirates. Those are the teams that are being discussed in that division. Otherwise, I can tell you, I think this season's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that baseball's back, man, and I love baseball. I do. Baseball is a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the season.
No, I would love to get to PNC Park, Timmy, just to see the stadium, but I think that Pittsburgh fans hate your owner more than Guardians fans hate their owner.
Yeah. Oh, the weirdest thing is you're probably right. Like, I think he actually, you're probably right.
And Connor Griffin starting in AAA. They announced it, I think, this morning.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yep.
I like the service time, Greenberg.
I wanted to pull in Steve over here, little Steel City Collectibles. If you haven't noticed, Steve, where are you from and what's your favorite team?
From the Pittsburgh area, obviously, the Pirates. I mean, looking at the Pirates, the moves they made this offseason, our owner finally did something, Ryan O'Hearn brought him in. The trade for Brandon Lowe, that's a good move. The bottom third of the order, a little weak. It's going to be Joey Barter, Henry Davis. It's going to be Triolo and Nick Gonzalez. We know that's a weak lineup. But the top six looks really good. Adding Asuna in that as the DH, I really think the Pirates can win 85 to 80. And I don't know. I don't think the Central's that tough. I think the Cubs downgraded, moving from Tucker to Bregman as the big acquisition. The Brewers got rid of Peralta, so they lost their best pitcher. I don't know. I like the Pirates this year. I think they can contend for the division.
Steve, are you out on Henry Davis, the former number 1 pick? Are you out?
I don't know. He's better defensively than Joey Bart. He hasn't shown anything offensively yet. We're starting to get to the point where he's going to have to start hitting the ball to, be the everyday catcher. We know he's going to catch for Skeens whenever Skeens pitches. He's his personal catcher. Last year, if you look at their defensive metrics, they were a better team whenever Henry Davis caught, even though Joey Bart batted better. So, I mean, I think they're just going to mix those two up a lot this year.
But I was just going to chime in with that. Davis started the spring. He was like over, man. It was not pretty. But the last probably week and a half, man, he's got a couple homers. And that's what you're hoping for. You're just hoping for that confidence. Like, I think that everybody knows that he's capable. I mean, he was the number 1 draft pick. So everybody knows he's capable. And I think that's why the Pirates are they stick with him. He worked really hard on his defense. He's now bringing that to the table. And, I think that what was just mentioned, he's going to catch Skeens. But I just wanted to chime that in because I do think that it's all about confidence. I think that he needs to be confident at the plate because he's capable. He is capable.
Yeah. I've seen that with a lot of catchers. I've seen that with a lot of catchers in this league. I mean, look at Adley Rutschman. Adley Rutschman took a step back last year dramatically. Yeah. And you're seeing a lot of these high drafted catchers just not hit where they were drafted, right? I mean, at that value. I mean, Patrick Bailey, some of the Giants. And, I think I don't know if it's kind of like a miss on the draft or if it's a development thing. But I mean, a lot of these guys were just really good hitters in college. Pros is just crazy.
I was just gonna say he has 660 big league at bats. We don't know what he is, and he has to. When you're a catcher, you have to lose. You have to learn two positions. You have to learn how to be a defensive catcher, and you have to learn how to hit big league hitting. He's 26, which is really young for catchers. Like, I wouldn't write this guy off for another 2 years because he's got to get to 1,000 at bats before we know what he is.
No.
So that's just my. I don't like the Pirates, but I think it's too early to say. He's,
Good point. Really good point.
Awesome point. With obviously with Skeens being the ace of the Pirates, something I'm always looking at because I'm a Yankee fan. So every time we get into you get into the postseason, you're always thinking of the matchup at the end. So obviously you can't avoid the LA Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani. So for me, I'm always looking at, which pitchers are good against them. From the sample size, there's a couple guys, out there. I think like a lot of like sinker ball, low ball pitches. I mean, Skeens has pretty good numbers against Ohtani because ultimately that's going to be, your matchup. You're coming to it. I don't know any other. I think Valdez has decent numbers against Ohtani. Anybody else see? I mean, Verlander, I think, believe it or not, knows how to pitch. So he still, I think has a decent, pitching stats against him. Anybody else see who's going to stop?
Some of the bookies have good numbers against Ohtani.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to do it.
Or just his interpreter. I mean, he was.
Well, yeah, he took the rap, but
Yeah, I know. Listen, I mean, it's I sometimes overpay the people that do things for me. Something.
Yeah, hopefully,
a couple mil here and there. Yeah, between friends.
I would actually say with Ohtani, you just got to minimize the damage, man. Like, I don't care what pitcher you are. Like, he's a great hitter, man. He's super talented, and I think we could go through every pitcher, that Ohtani has faced, and it's just you basically have to look at it and say, okay, you got to minimize the damage, and that's it.
Yeah. I saw David over there, Cigar Box. You were reaching for something before when we were.
How do you do that with Betts and Freeman and Tucker?
I was going to do a little story time about my fandom of the Royals. So I still have my little league George Brett 29 inch.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's cracked.
How much pine tar's on that?
This one has 0, but I do have this one.
We don't want nobody flying out of the podcast.
I have this gamer.
Look at that.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that's nice.
Not sticky anymore, but yeah, this is it's a cool item. But so I grew up in Kansas, small town in Kansas. And,
Did you know Richard Christie from the Howard Stern Show?
No.
There's a poll.
Hey, gotta go to Taco Tico's. No, sorry.
I used to skip high school lunch to go to Taco Tico. We would bet and see who could eat the most tacos, and I never won, but it was painful if you competed. But anyway, my first Royals game against the White Sox. My dad catches a Chet Lemon foul ball or something. Somehow I got a Chet Lemon ball during batting practice. I go down and I get it signed by Willie Wilson and Dennis Leonard.
Oh,
super jacked. It was the best day of my life. Been a Royals fan ever since. Go to school the next Monday and tell all my buddies, like, hey, my dad got a ball. I got an autograph by Dennis Leonard, Willie Wilson. They're all calling BS. Like, no, you didn't. No way. I go, come to my house after school and I'll show it to you. Take him down to my room. Had it just perfectly centered on my dresser next to my George Brett bat. Nowhere to be found. I'm like, what the heck? Where's this ball at? I unfortunately have 2 little brothers. And they decided it'd be good to go practice in the backyard with my ball. And these guys can't catch or throw. So it has grass stains all over it. And I'd go ballistic on these 2. But
where'd you bury the bodies?
Yeah, right. But anyway, That's one of the. I have everything from when I was a kid, and that is one thing I don't have because my brothers probably played with it again and lost it. They thought it was hilarious. So anyway, huge Royals fan. I'm excited about this year. If our rotation can stay healthy, I think, I was ready to build off 24, and then we just kept battling injuries. So, if we can stay healthy, get Jack hitting some bombs, Carter Jensen, promising catcher, and obviously having Bobby Witt Jr., like he's this generation's George Brett for Royals fans. So it's exciting to have him. They all played meaningful games in this WBC, which was fun to watch. And I think they maybe had the most guys playing for teams. So, Pasquatch, and it's just, I'm excited. I wish I didn't live so far away. I'm in Arizona now, but obviously I get the MLB TV and watch as many as I can. But, it's been fun watching him growing up. Obviously a huge George Brett fan. Went to his last game. College, would always go out there, sit in GA, watch Bo. So there was some tough years, some lean years in between there being the small market team, but yeah, I'm excited. And then we got potential new stadium stuff going on. So who knows where they're going to end up or where they're going to go. I love that stadium. It's out in the middle of nowhere, but it's got a special place in my heart. So it should be a fun season. Looking forward.
I've always loved looking at that stadium. Anytime you're playing like a video game or something, I'm always picking that stadium. It's just beautiful with the waterfalls out there in the outfield. It's just one of those iconic baseball stadiums. Before we jump around, I want to you got something close by whenever you get a chance to show us. I love some of the custom frames that you make. I love and I want to just show everybody a little bit before when you get a chance, if you want to just
I'm in this room that my wife was like, my daughter moved out of the basement. I already have my son's old room in one side, and she's like, we cleaned it out, nothing in here to clean the carpets. She goes, I want to make this a nice guest room. And I got started in here, and it's not a guest room. She hasn't even seen it yet, but it is full of all kinds of.
Nice. All right. Well, when you grab something, show it to us.
There's some cigar box cards right here. I don't know if you can see them.
There we go.
The Piedmonts.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
There you go.
There you go. A little shameless plug for David there.
This is one of my favorites. My Don Corleone over here in the Yankees cap.
There you go.
This is one here
in the corner in large size.
David put this custom together. I love it. It's just so cool. But yep, definitely. Obviously, we're also big collectors over here. A lot of us talking collectibles. So what do we think on the collecting market coming up for this MLB season? Anything we're excited about? Steve over at Steel City, what are you thrilled about coming out for the new MLB season?
I mean, not product specific yet, but just the rookies that we're going to have this year. The Connor Griffins, Kevin McGonigal made the opening day roster. I think JJ Weatherholt made the opening day roster for the Cardinals. So many good young players, and they're middle infielders too. I mean, they're good hitters, and they're the top of the class. They're the top prospects in baseball, and they're going to be debuting. So whenever we get Top Scrum update at the end of the year, we're going to have those debut patches. Probably some of the best players that we've seen the debut patches of in the last couple of years. I mean, they're not going to rival the Skeens that we know, but they're going to be big hits. They're going to be big cards that we're going to be chasing there.
Yeah. I mean, John, you got some excitement. I know you're out at the shows and you're talking to fans. Anything you see that, you're excited. You got some gold MLB patches coming out. What is it? Didn't a 2 million?
I don't pull those. I don't have that kind of luck.
I mean, let's
not get crazy. but piggybacking off Steve said, we have a lot of young players, a lot of rookies that not only made opening day rosters, but are starting. Marcelo Mayer's the starting at second base in Boston. We got Carson Bench for my Mets starting in right field. Kind of a little ahead of a schedule. And so not only are these making the rosters, they're going to be at least at first, they're going to get some playing time to prove whether they're going to stick around in the show or maybe need a little seasoning. And when it comes to collecting, as we all know, right, rookies drive these products. And so the early success of these rookies are going to go a long way into, what these products at the end of the day are going to be in even years down the line, right? We always remember what years contain, everyone knows what year Ohtani rookies are in. And some of these guys this year, I'm not saying they're the next Ohtani per se, but that's going to be the driving force. And I know Ethan was complaining about the Cleveland not spending money. Listen, as a Mets fan, we had 40 years of the Wilpons. So don't cry for me, Argentina. They would sign like journeyman minor leaguers and hold a press conference to announce.
Well,
it.
then I guess we're
even the guy at the press conference.
I guess
was like, "What am I doing here?"
Hey, we're one in the same. We took Keith Hernandez off of you guys. I don't think he even played a game for us. We tried to take Bill Sims. Oh, that was football. Sorry, and then like he backed out of the deal or something crazy happened. But look, I mean, I know you're complaining about the past, but let's talk about the present. Why are we bringing up old stuff here? All right, let's talk about the present.
Listen,
the fact of the matter is, the Mets have all this money, and they spend all this money on all these players, and the small market teams can't do squat because there's no salary cap and there's no salary floor, and we in the middle get screwed.
Listen,
I'm not going to argue with you. I think you're right, but
you wish you were the middle.
Now after the Wilpons, I'm not complaining. So until there is a salary cap, I'm enjoying the ride, and I think speaking of the Mets. I know Peralta was mentioned before. That's where he wound up. So having trouble like extending his contract to an extension. But for now, he's a Met and starting opening day. So the outlook is good. Soto had a down Soto year and still almost won MVP. So, crazy as that is. So I think they win the division. I don't like to be a homer, and I usually will on the glasses half empty with the Mets kind of fan, but I'm feeling good. They signed Bichette. They got a lot of young players still. And I know they traded a few, but they still got a lot. And Benj, I don't want to jinx him, but he looks really good.
Listen, one of the most productive Mets has the lowest budget. I mean, Grimace so far in the last couple of years did well for the Mets. I mean, I gotta say, they really he brought them right through the playoffs. All the Mets need is some other little bit of luck, something to propel that team. They just love to have, whether it's a theme song.
But that's the difference. Listen, Paulie. That's the difference between Grimace with Cohen. He's just a character. With the Wilpons, he would have been playing.
Yeah, that's true.
He would have been batting eighth and playing first base.
That's very true. I mean, I do love the way things are shaping up. The more the two teams in New York, fight it out, the more exciting it is. I think it's always, if one team is in the, is at the bottom end, it's no one's really excited about a Subway Series, but when they're both fighting for the playoffs, it's just a lot of fun. Hometown rivals always have that. Any other hometown rivals we got here? Anyone else talk about something that they can't wait to go see, like their two rivals playing each other this season? We got anybody a big LA fan here? No one's pulling for the Dodgers versus the Giants.
No one wants to admit it. I think they're a little
That's it. It's you have to find a Dodgers fan to come on a podcast, even though all they do is win. I don't know why. I think they're just afraid they're gonna get attacked if they come on, and 9 of us are here with our fangs coming out as soon as they step in. But I don't know. But no, it's true. The season's very exciting. Something I put together. If you guys want to play, I want to have a little fun here. This is a quick little game. So I'm gonna show you a little 10-second video, and we're all gonna go around and play by the game.
Ultimate baseball matchup. One pitcher, one hitter, one dream at bat. Who would it be? Who would it be? Who would it be?
That's it. Who would it be, guys? We're gonna do. What's your dream matchup? We're gonna take a little time. We're gonna go around here and see who would you want to see? One pitcher, one hitter. Ethan, who do we got?
All right. How about, and I guess I'm gonna go with people in my lifetime. Even in my younger days, some younger, but how about we go Nolan Ryan prime Nolan Ryan v prime, maybe even pre-roids Barry Bonds.
Ooh, nice. Pre-roids Bonds and Nolan Ryan in his prime. Now Nolan Ryan in his prime. What is that to you? Is that Mets? Is that?
I think it would have been after the Mets. It would have been because, I remember him mostly, he was with the Stros for a long while there and then with the Rangers for a heck of a long time. So probably the Stros. I'm thinking him and Mike Scott were pretty darn good for the Stros. But I'm thinking like prime Nolan Ryan, I just know how daggone good he was. I could pull some names like from Cleveland history, like a little Bob Feller or something like that. Rapid Robert Feller. How about some? Can we get Phil Necro? Can I get Phil Necro? I love me a knuckleballer.
You got pre-roid Bonds and you got Nolan Ryan. Johnathan Fink, what do we got? What do we got on your all time?
All right, I got Sandy Koufax pitching.
Oh, nice.
And he's pitching to Hank Greenberg. So you got two of the greatest Jewish players from two different total decades, right? Koufax from the 50s, Greenberg was in the 20s. So yeah, to me it would be Koufax and Greenberg.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Good call.
Love it. CigarBoxCards, David, what do we got? What's your dream matchup? One pitcher, one hitter.
So I'm a big Satch collector, so I'm going Satchel Paige, and then the guy that has a lot of flair and excitement in this day and age, Acuna Jr.
Wow, nice. That's a fun one. I dig it. Nice. Steve, when you what do we got here? Are you picking the Pittsburgh pitcher, Steve? What are we picking? Steve, you with us? Maybe a little freeze. We'll come back. John Newman, what do we got over here?
I'm gonna piggyback off what Johnathan said. I was before, and this was I was picking this before he said that, but I'm gonna go Koufax too. You could do 1A with Bob Gibson. So if I have to switch it, and we'll go old school, new school. So Koufax / Gibson versus Ohtani.
Nice. Okay. Koufax Ohtani. Steve, you got us on this one. Just gonna come back to you, Steel City. Jump on in whenever you got your one pitcher, one hitter. Jay Destiny, what do we got here?
Well, I grew up a Cardinals fan in the mid 80s.
Yeah, I was a little bit frozen there.
Sorry, Steve. We're gonna come right back. We're gonna stay with us. We're gonna come back to you next.
Two guys that never faced each other in 1985. John Tudor, who had a sub-2 ERA, versus Jack Clark. They were on the same team. Wow. Really good team. Just I would like to see that lefty versus righty. Clark hit one of the biggest home runs in Cardinals history. John Tudor's 1985 season was incredible. He had like an 8 WAR and a 1.8 ERA. So I think that would be a fun matchup. Tudor versus Clark.
Nice. I like it. Steve, what do we got here, Steve? Who are we picking?
My favorite player ever was Griffey, and I liked watching Tony Gwynn hit. So you give me those guys against anybody, and I'll watch it. It doesn't matter.
Nice. All right. You don't even care about the pitcher. You just want to see Griffey hit anyone. All right. Listen, I agree. Watching Griffey was always exciting. Definitely, explosive, and you never know what was going to happen with him at bat. I like it though. All right, Timmy, who do we got? Who's our dream matchup on this one?
I'm going Bob Gibson against anybody in today's game. I'm going Bob Gibson. The guy just he stood and looked at you, and he threw angry, man. It didn't matter. He threw angry, and that's it, man. I just say Bob Gibson against anybody in today's game. And it doesn't mean that they couldn't hit him. It just means that he just stood on the mound and he was in his own little zone, man. And that was, he threw chin music. He threw it wherever, but he also won games, and he won big games, and he knew how to pitch.
Mm-hmm.
He was, that's it. I'm going Gibson against anybody in today's game.
Oh, I love it. No, that's for sure. Michael, what do we say here? What do we say on our one pitcher on here? And we got Derek just joining us here, by the way. Derek, we're going to come to you next.
Yeah, everybody's forgetting the anniversary of the bird death with Randy Johnson, right? So I got to say Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw him up there against, I mean, my favorite player of all time, my dad, my grandpa used to make me watch old clips of him, is Willie Mays. Randy Johnson, mullet Randy Johnson versus Willie Mays all day.
Nice. That was my picture. Randy Johnson was mine. The big unit was just, I think, the most menacing human to take the mound. I mean, to me, it's just, and I think for me, I'm throwing Mantle up there. Mantle versus the big unit. I mean, two guys that just, I think, don't care if anyone's in the stands. They just gonna want to face each other. You know, they don't care. It's just you, big unit versus the Mick. I mean, if we could do it. Derek, welcome to the show. How we doing here, Derek? How are we? Derek,
things are good.
Digital collector over here. We're just chatting some baseball. We're just doing an ultimate matchup. One pitcher, one hitter, all time. Who would you pick? Who would you want to see?
Probably Maddox versus Ohtani. I grew up a Braves fan. Maddox has a lot of he's a clever, tricky guy, and then I'm a big Ohtani collector, so I like those two.
Nice. I know the Ohtani collection over on Candy. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Candy Digital just getting some news recently, and just what you kind of have been aspiring to build digitally in your collection.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Would it be best to start with the collection or with the news?
Let's start with the news.
Yeah. Yeah, so the big news in the digital collectible space right now, specifically with Candy, is that the former CEO of Sotheby's, Tad Smith, has decided to buy the company. And that's a really, really, really big deal for a couple of reasons. He was actually CEO of Madison Square Garden, so he's got some good, sports background as well. As the CEO of Sotheby's, he sold everything from Muhammad Ali's boxing gloves to, I think, some pretty high-end MJ stuff to a Da Vinci painting for $450 million. So he's bringing, a lot of credibility. And, of course, digital collectibles, it's not just sports, which is super cool, but, like, a lot of digital collectibles is, like, the art side of it. So he's got really deep connections there, whether it's, like, Art Basel or Beeple or whatever. So I think it does a couple things. It brings a ton of credibility into the space from like the physical art world, hopefully the physical collectibles world as well. And then the other thing is that he is a partner at a firm that's really big in the crypto space. So, they're investors in like Ledger and Kraken and Gemini and some of the big winners in crypto. So he's kind of got a nice touch across all of the board and the different buckets that you would want to see somebody coming into the space. And then, of course, the Sotheby's brand says a lot too. So that's really exciting. He was on the board of Futureverse. He came out and announced on Saturday that he was going to be buying the company. The deal is closing in the next couple of weeks, and I think there'll be a lot of exciting changes for sure.
I love it.
So
it's exciting. I mean, I've collected Candy as well. I love the digital space. And as we were briefly talking about collecting Ohtani, I know that you've been basically trying to get as many of those nice rare ones in your collection over the last several months, years going after Candy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so when I came into digital collecting, I collected as a kid. I loved collecting as a kid, like everyone. Baseball cards, trading baseball cards with my friends was my favorite thing in the world. As an adult, I'm a tech CEO, so I was pretty comfortable with that space. I also am a bit of a digital nomad, and I lose everything, so I kind of gravitated more towards the digital side. And when I got into it, Candy was just really in the gutter. And I kind of developed a thesis that I called the blue chip rookie grail thesis. And part of it was that, in the digital space with the rookies, specifically 2023 to the present, there was just nobody making anything. There wasn't Topps, there wasn't Panini. And so I basically bought 70% of Junior Caminero's rookie cards. Actually, Paulie sold me a really good one, and he sold me a jersey. So that was very kind of you. But I bought 70% of Junior Caminero's rookie cards, reasoning that, there's double upside if digital can gain steam and close the gap a little bit with physical. And then, of course, if Junior has a great career, then that'll be huge. And then on the Ohtani side, there's 11 one-of-ones in the world, and I bought 6 of them. So I bought the rookie one. It's from 2025, reflecting back on 2018. We can debate whether it's a rookie or not, and I think there's fair things to talk about on both sides. But I bought it for $7,000, and of course, the physical one could go close for $10 million. So I was getting a 99.99% discount off. I'm like, hey, if this thing is only worth just 99.95% less than the physical in 5 years, I'll have 5x my money, right? The difference was so great that it just seemed like it was worth it to me. And then I loved how scarce it is. I never could figure out how many one-of-one physical Ohtanis there are. People would just give me ranges between 750 and 1,000. So I knew that there were specifically 11. I loved how high pace it was. I love the video and that kind of stuff. And I just got really interested in digital, still love physical and respect it a lot. And I love, being able to touch the ball and that kind of stuff. But I went hard on digital for those reasons.
Nice. Yep. I love it. Listen, it's I definitely think it's a nice thing to own. The digital collectibles are just a lot of fun, getting to see the video motion behind the collectibles. But I also have a ton of cardboard as well. Speaking of a ton of cardboard, Timmy, I know you're short on time, but I want you to tell everybody here a little bit about your journey, if you don't mind, and just kind of
course.
What kind of propels you every day to dig through some of the stuff you have.
So we are the Big League Find. First, I love talking to you guys. This is a lot of fun to me. This is a ton of fun, man. I love talking baseball. So yeah, back during the pandemic, like everybody, I jumped back in. Then I got a message from a friend, and she said that stop buying on eBay. You need to come over and see my dad's collection. The next thing you know, I go over and I look at this collection, and as I'm going from room to room, I know that I'm seeing something that is just so unique. And then I'm realizing how epic it is. Like, this, holy cow, this, I didn't think at the time that it could be the largest collection, in the world or whatever, or might be. But I decided to buy it, and ever since I've been thumbing through and just enjoying it, and I feel blessed every day that I get to go in to the shop and thumb through different cards and different eras. I love sports cards. I collected as a kid. That was a big part of my life, and I collected with my dad. So that was another big part of my life. And this is just a way to, and I think I'm not going to say I speak for all of us, but I think I speak for a lot of people. Like we get to sort of morph into those childhood memories and really get to enjoy the cards again that we collected as a kid, or cards that we dreamed of holding as a kid, or that is pretty much my journey. That's pretty much my journey at this point. And Paulie, I appreciate you giving me the platform to talk about it. No doubt.
Of course. Listen, it's amazing. I love your passion for the cards and for collecting. I don't know if you have any questions for Tim, if you've checked him out on Instagram, the Big League Find, if you've seen some of his posts out there, he has one of the most amazing all-time collections I've seen. And just every day, it depends what he goes through and what he finds. How many Nolan Ryan rookie cards did you come across not that long ago?
We've got 3 to 4 of them. Yep.
And then just Ricky Henderson rookies I saw not that long ago. You're there with the Ricky.
Oh yeah. We got stacks of rookies. Yep. Oh,
it's
yeah.
so cool.
It's a ton of fun, guys. I can't I can't even explain, but I'm having a lot of fun. It's a lot, but I've gotten used to it. You know, it was overwhelming at first, but now I feel like I'm pretty settled in with the collection. It's
you have some shows or events or things coming up that do you go to shows to sell, or
you want to know what? I do not sell. First and foremost, I don't sell. I really made it a point that I wanted to carry on the legacy of the collection. You know, we've taken different steps, and we figured out that the one step that is best for us is to share the collection. We do a lot of giveaways on our Instagram page and on our YouTube page. We do giveaways as well. So it's that's pretty much where we're at. But I do not set up at shows, and you know, I did go to the National, but just to walk around, because I still love looking at other people's collections. Like, regardless of this collection, I still love looking at other people's collections. It's a lot of fun, and I love hearing other people's passion for different players and for different, you know, whether it's different sports or different years that I was interested in. You know, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So someone here that also has a huge passion, which I took to, Michael Dault, the Hobby Hustle. I loved it. I'm not sure if everybody here has checked it out, but you have to watch it. It's a documentary movie. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Michael? I know it kind of goes along with what Tim's saying here, just some of your stories, some of the motivation behind, you know, making that, as well as checking out the Long Gone podcast. I love that. Had fun coming on there with you guys. But you want to talk to us a little bit about the passion and some of the stories of other collectors that you came across while making the film?
Sure. I saw Timmy waving. Timmy, you taking off?
Yeah, guys, I gotta scoot out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, man. You guys are awesome.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. We'll be following you. Keep the good fight. Keep ripping. Keep finding those good rookies in there. Appreciate
you guys be great. You guys be great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. I mean, I started the documentary. I had like an idea about 2019, and it was kind of a love letter to collecting, card collecting, memorabilia collecting, and it just kind of materialized from there. I saw kind of some of the negative stuff of the hobby, you know, forgeries, what have you, and fake stuff, and I got hooked up with a guy who ran a racket he used to sign like memorabilia, he was like a master forger, and he was doing prison. He was doing a stint in prison for it. And his name's Cliff Banazek. It was called Operation Stolen Base. And then from there, I just kind of took off, and I started collecting all these stories from the hobby, not just the negative stuff. I mean, the good stuff too, some finds. One aspect of the documentary was covering Cliff Banazek's kind of whole racket. And then the other part of the documentary was the Black Swamp find, where this family was kind of down and out, and their great aunt died, and basically they were cleaning out the house and found millions of dollars worth of E98 cards.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it changed their life overnight. And then I just took these little stories of collectors, and I thought that would be really cool to kind of put it all together and make one. It was a long ass movie. That's one thing, but originally it was supposed to be a kind of like a documentary series, but the distribution changed hands a couple times. And then finally it was just, let's just do a documentary movie. And there was so much cut out. I mean, there was so much cut out of that documentary that we could even make a sequel because there was just so many great stories of the hobby. Yeah.
I loved it. I just wanted to keep watching it though. I know there's a lot of different ones, but to me it was like just done. Like, you did such a great job how it just kept moving to like one story back to another. So it didn't like, it felt like, yeah, I could have kept watching because it was just so many like cool stories, I think, tied into one. And it's just really like, when you're a collector, you love to hear that. You love to see, you know, the people that just stumble across a fortune. You know, you love to hear the things that you think about, like, I don't know, is this thing for legitimate? Like, I don't know, you know, you have a little bit of knowledge sometimes may help before you make that purchase, you know, whether or not, you know, you think it's real or not. But some people, they just want it if it's the right price. You know, sometimes it's like if you're not spending a lot, you're like, ah, whatever. But you kind of want it, you know, you want it to be real. You want to know the things of what to do. And, you know, I love that it was, you know, educational for collectors as well. You know, it's something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just a lot. I mean, it was a lot of just finding the stories and basically just documenting, you know, how I seen the hobby and different aspects of the hobby, because it's not all cookie cutter. Not everything's great about it. You know, I mean, there's a lot of negative sides to it. So I had to cover that as well. But, you know, in the end, I kind of found out, you know, either people get in the hobby to make money, which isn't bad. I mean, if you do it the right way, and then you get other people who genuinely have a love for it. Like Timmy was talking and other people, you know, John and a lot of these guys who, they collect because they grew up collecting, right? I mean, it's a kid's passion first and foremost. You start out, you know, loving it when you're a kid, and it just kind of, and then as you're an adult, you kind of, a lot of these people that I interviewed, they kind of harken back to those times where it was simpler, where it was fun, and the collecting is kind of like that thing that kind of holds their nostalgia, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And
by the way, the hobby is ready for a sequel. Michael, if you have more stuff, like, we're ready.
Do it.
There was a part of it of the that we filmed. We did this whole bit where we traveled all around finding man caves, like giant collectors. Like we went to Toronto. This guy was a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. He's dressed, you see him on probably TikTok. He dresses in all like the goalie hockey gear, and his basement's caked with like everything, you know, Toronto Maple Leafs. And we went around and we covered man caves like that, just obsessive man caves. We found one guy in Chicago who was a Pittsburgh fan. He was a Pittsburgh sports fan, and his whole basement was dedicated to Pittsburgh sports. And it was like he turned it into like this little neighborhood pub, which was awesome. So we could do so much with it, with a sequel, just off stuff like that. Those little pocket stories.
Nah, that'd be amazing. I love it. I mean, it's done so well. And speaking of stories, Johnathan Fink, you want to tell us a little bit about some of the passion and love that got you into?
Yeah, I mean, my love for collecting cards and my love for writing books have been intertwined from the very beginning. In fact, forgive the self-promotion, but the Republic Baseball League was my first fictional novel series. Volume 3, the last of the journey, comes out on July 4th. And this is how I got back into cards. You know, I was a junk wax kid. I remember 1982, on the school, the back of our school bus was basically, we played flip. And so it was basically a gambling hall. So I remember never caring about going to school except for the fact that I wanted to gamble, right? And so I looked forward to, you know, getting on the school bus and then coming home. But then after that, for me, collecting was more about building sets. You know, my dad grew up in the Bronx. He was a New York Giants fan, and you know, Willie Mays was his guy. And I think he had 53, 54, and 55 complete sets. And like a lot of people, you know, grandma threw it out, you know, at some point. And so I kind of always was like, you know, I'm going to rebuild sets like my dad. And I never got close. I mean, I would get like, you know, 25, 30 cards of 1983 tops, and I would, you know, the next year would come out and I'd have to move on. So I loved it up till 88, typical thing, high school, gave it up. But what my story is different than everybody else is a lot of people got back out of the hobby during the pandemic, right? I was busy writing books. In fact, I was really writing a lot of the Republic Baseball League. But the main character, Kevin Dempsey, is a college professor, and he loves baseball cards. In fact, his main hangout is the baseball card shop, which is kind of this old school barbershop, which has been converted into a sports card shop. In the back, they have a back room and they play baseball card poker. And so Dempsey will, you know, he'll go right from class, right to the shop and back and forth, and he'll buy a Hank Greenberg 1938 and gets the class and say, hey, here's why I bought this card, and they'll give a whole, you know, spiel about Hank Greenberg, or he'll come up, show up wearing a different jersey, and he'll talk about it. So, you know, I think the professor in him and the child in him mesh, and Kevin tries to make, you know, teaching geopolitics fun by using his passion for baseball. So that got me back into the hobby, and so after the pandemic, I was working on volume 2 and volume 3, and I was like, you know what, I want to go to a couple of card shows to kind of like channel my inner Kevin Dempsey to keep writing. And that's when I came across this card. It's a 1964 Willie Mays. Okay, now my dad grew up in the Bronx, right? I mean, Willie Mays was his favorite player. He would literally wait out after games at Paul Grounds just to get a glimpse of him. One time he got his glove signed, and he could never use it again because he cherished it. And I saw 2 of these, and so I bought both of them. One for me and one to mail my dad for his birthday. And then actually, when I eventually got so into sports cards that I had to turn it into a business thing and justify it with a business expense, and I wrote a book called The Sports Card Collectors Club. And it's interesting, Michael, how you talked about investing versus collecting, because when I was a kid, I was a collector. It was not about making money. I mean, when you were trading cards, you knew what cards were worth, right? So you would trade 3 crappy cards for the good one you wanted. So there was monetary value there. But for me, it was about set building. But at my day job as a financial advisor, I invest for a living, AI stocks, oil and gas, precious metals, whatever. So when I got back into the hobby, I was so shocked the hobby was all different. It wasn't set building. It was all about making money. Guys like Jeff Wilson with these apps, tracking cards like stocks. And I was like, well, I can kind of get to that because I do invest for a living. And so basically when I wrote this book, it was like, how do I, every chapter is like, how would you invest, in sports cards? How would a hedge fund do it? How would Warren Buffett do it? How would a private equity guy do it? How would a day trader do it? And so in some chapters I make lots of money. I PC Paul schemes. That was a big win. I lose a lot of money grading cards. By the end of the book, actually what happens is it was a Royals game. Okay, I'm a Royals fan, even though I'm wearing a Cardinals jersey today. And it was a rain delay. And the Card Life TV show came on, and Matt Strom is out there, just ripping packs. And I was like, man, I haven't ripped packs in like forever. All I'm doing is just like constantly buying cards on eBay and just hoping to flip them and whatever. And ultimately, I kind of came disillusioned with the whole idea of investing, and I got back into collecting. So by the end of the book, I'm set building, and I'm doing all the things I did as a kid, which I still do now. And then basically, volume 2, which I'm going to drop in December, called The Flip Life, is basically how I figured out how to stay in the hobby. Because I started a pack opening series on on TikTok and on Twitter and all that. But I also figured out that when you're selling books, you're competing with Netflix and no one even reads books anymore. People don't have the attention span to even watch a full baseball game, let alone read a book, right? So I had to find a way to find who would actually read my books. And I figured out if you love sports cards and you're spending money on sports cards, you probably would love my book about sports cards. And by the way, you probably would love my other books too. So I tried to do is I started to insert advertise. I would put like RBL Volume 1 on sale for 99 cents, the ebook, and I would insert it into the eBay envelopes. Then I would notice a month later, it would jump in sales. I kind of figured out that this is like a Trojan horse for me to sell books. I have a portfolio of 14 books now published, but also I needed to find a way to keep ripping cards. And so now all the cards that I rip, I basically I got a whole thing right here. These are all my hockey cards that I'm going to send out, and when those get mailed out, I'll slip in my Hockey Gods Are Real advertisement. And so I got in 2 weeks I got a golf guide book coming out. It's more about spirituality, but if you play golf and you're into members bounce and all the superstitions, you pick a certain club and there's all these rituals that golfers do. You'll appreciate that book. And so when I'm mailing out the golf cards, I'll put in that advertisement. So that's kind of awesome. A way to justify to my wife, all the time and money that I've spent on this. But now I'm going even further because now I'm writing volume 3, The Card Life. And by the way, when I finished the first book, I mailed it to the producer of The Card Life. All right, and this is you can't even make this stuff up. It's like surreal manifesting, 101. But I was interviewed by them, and I met Matt. And he signed all my cards, and I'm going to be in the next month. I'm in the episode after Bobby Wood Jr., which is so insane. But
this is awesome.
Down in Kansas, and I did the interview, and it was just the craziest thing because I'm talking about this Willie Mays card, and I wrote about these guys in my book how they're the reason I went from a card investor back to a collector, and then a year later I'm on their show. It's like you can't make that stuff up. So yes, that's my whole story. So I love writing books. My day job is a money manager, and I actually still am working on a book. I do have a book called The Prospect Economy. And when this interview started, you're talking about all these McGonigal and JJ Weatherholt, all these rookies, Jesus Mate. I've been tracking all those guys for some time because I have a book that I'm going to put out. It's kind of like a Kevin Dempsey PhD baseball card investment book, but it's basically about all the prospects. Kind of how, put it this way, Connor Griffin, there's an auto of his right now that's sold for $100,000, right? But my son, he played for the Dodgers scout team his junior year of high school, and he was coached by John Link. He pitched for the Dodgers. We had a bunch of kids that were Division I two kids that got drafted. In fact, one kid, Ty Harvey, his card's actually in Bowman draft this year. So I've been super collecting him because I know him. I've been like tweeting about him and stuff like that, you know. But his auto, I bought like 10 of his autos for like $10 each, right?
Wow.
If you look at the Padres' top 30 prospects, I think he's number 9 right now already because he had a really good spring. But I'm like, wait, why is Ty Harvey worth $10?
Steve, you want to help us out on this?
There's something that discrepancy. That's what I want to write a book about. You know, why do we value prospects who haven't even achieved anything yet? You know, it's just interesting to me. So that's what that book is about. So so my whole journey comes full circle because I still love collecting, but I also have an investor in me. But at the end of the day, I'm a collector. And if you look around my room, nothing is valuable. It's just things that are meaningful to me. You know, people that I wrote about my stories. And also, frankly, I just love to rip packs. I love ripping wax, and so it's just a way to keep being in the hobby and finding a creative way to kind of direct market my books. So that's my baseball sports card story.
I love it. Listen, I to me, it's that's what the passion's about. It's about collecting because it means something to you. But I want Steve to jump in a little bit on. You was talking about undervalued rookies. Do you happen to know of some or any on your list of who would just stack if you can around that $10 range, as Johnathan was just telling us he's out there eyeballing. Do you happen to have some of what he's looking for, by the way? Steve.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
I froze up there for a second.
That's fine.
All right. I don't know why it keeps freezing on me, but because I'm ripping a lot as a breaker, I don't really pay attention to a lot of the the small time and like investment to wait for it to grow up. I mainly just for my collection, I just buy guys I'm a fan of. I just had somebody on recently whenever we was doing the Bowman. I mean, prospecting is huge, and I think the reason why is it's just everybody wants the next big thing. I heard you say about the Connor Griffin, 100,000 or whatever. Hey, that's fine. I've never been a big prospect collector myself. I mean, I've bought, some blasters of Bowman and held them for a while until some guys popped off and then, might have flipped them for some money, there. But I never really, never was a big time prospector myself. I wish I would have been though, because the Connor Griffin stuff went from kind of cheap to even the unlicensed stuff's now selling for like $200-$300. So it's moving pretty well. But it's they pay for.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I know it's tough. I mean, trying to get a good deal on already some of the hyped up rookies is tough. I mean, you can go for the different brands. Sometimes you just want something of that player, especially if they happen to be on your favorite team. Sometimes it's hard to watch the whole season when you're there. The guy keeps getting better, the price keeps going up, and you're saying, "Why didn't I buy this in the spring? Like, why am I waiting this whole season to pick one of these up?" Jay Destiny, you want to talk to us a little bit about some of your collecting in your baseball world, some new stuff?
Sure. So I there's a lot of Pittsburgh people here, so I'll tell a story. But most of the stuff I collect is stories because I worked in baseball so long. I realized if I collected everything, like my house would just be completely covered in stuff. So I like stories, that I have or that I've heard from other clubhouse guys or, stuff like that. And I want to tell a quick Willie Stargell story since there's a bunch of Pittsburgh people here. 1989, I was the Greenville Braves bat boy. That was my first job in professional baseball. And the thing I liked to do the most was like go to the park, get in uniform and just sit on the bench, right? And watch batting practice, both teams, just interact. I mean, these are professional players. So like I'm 12 years old. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Right. And one day this huge guy comes walking towards the dugout and I'm like, that looks like Willie Stargell. And he gets closer and closer. I was like, holy crap, that is Willie Stargell. It's like, this is the first time I've ever met a Hall of Famer. And he's coming and I went up to him, started talking to him, and he's like, you're too young to know who I am. And I said, no, I saw you in the Old Timers game. And he's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. And a couple of players had to take me aside and be like, he thinks you're calling him old. So like, don't do that anymore. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'm 12, man. Willie's a giant dude. I didn't want him mad at me. But the cool part of the story is they're sitting there, and this is 89, and there's a lot of stuff about corked bats and all this kind of stuff going on. So one of the guys, it was either Dennis Hood or Brian Hunter. And I think Hood played in the major leagues, but Hunter definitely did for the Braves during the first little run there in the 90s. They're asking him if he ever used a cork bat. And he's like, nah, I never did. What? And then he starts thinking, he goes, oh, there was this one time we were on a road trip and I had broken all my bats. And it's not like now where you can just get them shipped overnight to the stadium. So he borrowed a bat from a guy, and he didn't really want to borrow it from this guy because he thought he was a little bit, So he said he went up to the plate. First pitch, he swings. The bat just shatters, and there's all this crap on the ground, like cork and like, super balls and all this kind of stuff. And he's thinking, holy crap, man, now everybody's going to think I used a cork bat. I'm going to get suspended. And he just says him, the catcher, and the umpire all just looking down at this stuff. And all this is going through Willie's head, like, man, I'm going to get suspended. They're going to think I'm a cheater. And he just looks up, and the umpire says to him, man, Willie, they don't make bats like they used to. And that was it. Like, he didn't get in trouble or anything. He he was so cool about it. He said that's the only time he had ever used a cork bat. And he's glad he didn't get in trouble for it. But like those kind of stories, like you can pass to other people or you hear from other people, like that's the kind of stuff I collect, is like those stories that you can only get from being inside it in the clubhouse, hanging around with guys. And like, I wasn't in that, but I was a fly on the wall type of, just there and around hearing all this stuff. So that's the kind of stuff I collect, the stories like that.
I'm assuming you must have tons of them being so close to the game. I mean, that's, just great every day showing up to the ballpark. I mean, I'm sure how's that feeling just walking out there every day? I mean, just showing up to the stadium.
It's great.
It's crazy. Any crazy games you remember? Like, what's one of the most like actual like a game that had such a ending or meaning or an event that you witnessed?
I remember when I worked for the Charlotte Knights, we had a 26-inning game, I think, and there were four fans left at the end of the night, and they gave those 4 fans season tickets for the rest of the year. I remember that one. That one was a pretty good one.
That was pretty nice. Not bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back then it'd be hard to get them to get 500 people in the stands, but yeah, 4 people stayed, and the stadium was actually out in Fort Mill, which is like a smallish town. It wasn't around anything, so they didn't have those rules where you have to turn off the lights at midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever. So I just remember leaving the ballpark at like 5 a.m. thinking, man, I got to be back here at 10 a.m. You know what I mean? Like it was hideous. That one sticks out for sure. I do have another quick story. This is actually in Tim Kirchin's book, but when I was working with the Knights, Kirchin came down to write part of his book about minor leaguers, and we're sitting in the Charlotte clubhouse after batting practice before the game, and Jeopardy comes on. It's like 6:30, and the guys are all sitting around watching Jeopardy, and you just hear this big roar, like, I knew it, I told you, and Kirchin just looks at one of the guys like, you guys knew the answer to the Final Jeopardy thing? And one of the players goes, no, we never know the answers, so we guessed the category of Final Jeopardy. Like there's no way they can get the answers, so they just guessed the category. That guy had won that night. So that's another cool one I remember.
I love it. That is awesome. It's such a great place to be, being on the ballpark, starting I love hearing that, especially now starting the season. I mean, everybody, who lives in the colder parts here of the United States, we're locked and cooped up and can't wait for the spring to come. So baseball is just always that kind of memory, it's I'm sure you're there how early in the season would you get out there? You would how was it March, I guess, is when you could start?
No, basically after the Super Bowl, that first week you'd go out to like Glendale, and you have to get all the uniforms ready and everything because especially nowadays, pitchers and catchers report early February. So basically, I'd be home from like beginning of November to the end of January, and then you're right back at it, and traveling every 4 or 5 days. So it gets to be a pain, even if you're traveling nice in the big leagues. You're still traveling quite a lot, so it gets to be a pretty big pain in the ass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep,
I love it. Thanks, John. I love those stories. So fun. Cigar box card, David. You want to tell us a little some of maybe your times remembering when you were younger there, getting to some games, just something that maybe kind of that means something to you on why you make those custom frames that you do, and if you mind showing us something, you got something hanging around that you want to show.
Oh, I got a room full of stuff, but yeah, I don't like binders are cool, and I have binders, but I just like displaying stuff. So I'm a vintage guy, so I like making displays and cards that look like this is my 55 Bowman display with some customs in it, and
so neat.
I do hoops. This is my March Madness stuff I got going right now. So making stuff, it's really it's helped. Like I was buying a ton of stuff. I got back into it. I don't know if I clicked something or am I still on?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay.
We got you.
I'm just seeing only me right now. But yeah, I got back into the hobby. I kind of thought I lost all my collection, but it ended up it was in a storage unit, and then I got back into it, and just like the nostalgia, like we all feel like when I was going through these old cards. And I got into vintage when I was like a young kid. I just loved the old style cards, and so I'm pretty much just a vintage collector. But I just started making cool stuff I thought looked cool, and it's kind of helped me not buy as much because I just make it and I got to make it for myself if other people want it, or I sell it too. But it's not really the main goal. I like to keep it enjoyable for myself, and I like to have it on the wall. And I look at it and I switch them out. I got on this wall over here, I got some Royals displays and some different stuff. So it just helps, keeping the creative juices flowing and everything. But as far as memorable games, I lived in Colorado for about 20 years and bought mini packs to the Rocky season tickets. And I got the opportunity. They went on that. I don't remember what year it was they played Boston in the series, but they went on an incredible run, won like 19 games in a row to make the playing game against the Padres. And we were watching that final game. If so-and-so loses and the Rockies win, they're going to play the playing game. And so we run to the King Supers or whatever and buy playing game tickets. And that was probably the most electric atmosphere. The Rockies were down. They bring in Trevor Hoffman, the closer, that there's no way they're going to – I think they had to score 2 runs or whatever, but it was just I've never been to a game that had that much energy, one and done, and it was awesome. So I just I love going to the ballpark. Spring training's been great this year. I always go out to as many games as I can. I got a chance to see. Took my son to the USA game. They played an exhibition against the Giants before they started the. They hit a little better in that game than they did in the Classic, but there's nothing better than being at the ballpark and just
And what are you excited about this season? Who do you say is going to go to the? We'll jump around asking this. What do you see in the final matchup of the season? We had a couple guesses so far from our viewers here today. What do we got here? We got some saying Yankees, Dodgers. What do you say? What's on your list for the two to do the final dance this at the end of the season?
Well, I'm obviously always hopeful for the Royals, but I think this will be the Mets year. It's and probably I think the Blue Jays will make another run at it.
Nice. All right. That'd be.
I mean, that was that. I think everyone forgets, man. They were what, half an inch away from winning that thing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I could live with that. That would just. I couldn't go to bed at night.
You don't know how you could live with that? Okay. Can I share nightmare stories in Cleveland? You know, the tales of Costanza. How many different heartbreaks can I have? You know, watching Jose Mesa from my dorm room my freshman year of college as we're 1 out away from beating the crappy Marlins in the World Series, and all Bob Costas can do is get up in a lather to talk about Livan Hernandez and kiss his rear end the entire series. And then you got, what is it? Was it Tony? Whoever our second baseman was at the time.
Tony Fernandez.
Tony Fernandez, because it wasn't Robbie Alomar. You know, he didn't come till after, and it was after Carlos Baerga. Tony Fernandez, son of a, and then Joe Table, Jose Mesa. Are we serious, guys? They had the stories they tell on the radio is that they had the World Series trophy wheeled down to the Indians locker room, and then they lost. Can we talk about the rain delay? Can we talk about the bad strike zone against the Atlanta Braves? Someone brought up Greg Maddux. Hey, that's why you don't want – he wouldn't want ABS because automatic ball strikes would ruin that guy's career. These umps are horrible. I want the correct call, not the whatever matchup. I'm sorry. I'm not a baseball purist like that. But, man, the drive, the fumble, getting the team stolen and taken to Baltimore. I'm going to come up with all the tales here for you. The rain delay against the Cubs.
The rain delay, that's, yeah.
2016. I mean.
10-cent beer night.
I wasn't. I don't. Wait, was that in? It was in the 70s. I don't know if I was born yet or not, but if I was born, I was a wee infant. I mean, all the crazy things that happened there. But wow, yeah, for the Blue Jays to lose like they did, like you said, inches away. I was so pulling for the Blue Jays. I am. You know, I think that for those of us here who are rooting for smaller market teams in the central divisions and so on and so forth, I think there's an appreciation for, and I know that the Blue Jays obviously have a high payroll, but there's an appreciation when a smaller market team goes in and can win the World Series because of the odds that they're against when you can't keep your best players for the most part, unless you lock them up early on, a la, you know, again, for the Royals fans talking about Bobby Witt Jr. And for the Guardians, Jose Ramirez. I mean, how many guys in the 90s did the Indians lose because they couldn't pay them? You know, Tomey, Bell, Ramirez. Think about that murderer's row of a lineup all at one time, and then you add in other guys. It was such a crazy team. In fact, that they didn't pull it out anytime. Maybe in my lifetime I'll get to see something. At least I got the Cavs. I got one of the Cavs.
I mean, with the Jays, I thought obviously how close they were last year too. They're still a strong team. But speaking of not being able to sign somebody with Bichette, you know, losing him, obviously, he was a big part of the team. So, but, you know, Vlad being, you know, as clutch and I just see he's one of those players. To me, it's like, how do they perform when it's postseason? And he's just one of those, here comes postseason time and he just turns up the dial. You know, it's like some guys just have it in the postseason and under that pressure. And some guys don't. I mean, I mean, a lot of New Yorkers talking about Judge. I mean, I'm a Yankee fan. You know, I know his numbers aren't as bad as some of the local fans make it seem in the postseason, but it's even hard watching something like the baseball classic and you know, the USA just falling short and as far as his, you know, contribution in that game wasn't where, you know, some of the fans wanted it to be. You know, what'd you guys think of this World Baseball Classic? Was this a lot of fun? Was this something that every 3 years is something that, you know, you can't wait to watch? What did we all what are our sentiments on this?
I didn't think the USA wanted it bad enough. I know, I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I don't know. They're riding off the heels of what hockey did, what USA Hockey did. And you had people like Bryce Harper who really wanted it. And you had leaders like Aaron Judge on there. But, you know, I'm a Tigers fan, and I hated that Scuba left the team. I mean, I understand. I mean, he was thinking of his wallet. He's thinking, listen, you know, I got to think of the contract down the road. But I mean, they just brought Will Vest in like 2 days before the last game, and the roster changes and some of the moves D-Row was making. I don't know, man. And you hear these weird stories of they were out late the night before, and I don't know, Venezuela, they were locked in. You know what I mean?
More to them. It meant more to them.
It meant more to them. And I just thought USA didn't mean as much. I got that feeling.
Yeah. Derek, what you've been
I
watching?
I was just going to say, I think it's going to be a huge thing in terms of making the sport more popular worldwide as well. I'm actually in Buenos Aires in Argentina right now, and I'm like a tech CEO and I'm digital nomad, so I can move around. And I was going to the bar where they were showing the games, and man, for the final, it was packed to the brim with Venezuelans that were in Buenos Aires. And man, I kind of felt happy for them just because I could feel the national pride, you know, and like they've been through a lot. And when they won that game, it was a really, really, really big moment, and they were going nuts. It was a big deal for them. So I think it's good for the sport, and I thought it was a blast. Like I watched a ton of the games, and I just think it's great for the future of baseball. And with it being every 3 years, like I think it'll create fans across the world.
Yeah.
So,
John,
that's my hot take.
I love it.
Yeah, I love the WBC, right? A little precursor to the Major League Baseball season. But piggybacking off what Michael said, I almost felt like the U.S. team kind of thought they had it in the bag, that they could just throw their jerseys on the field and Venezuela wouldn't win the game. And like just watching some of these major league hitters look at balls down the middle, like I don't know if they were trying to run up pitch counts when you knew Venezuela was going to use 6 or 7 pitchers in the game anyway. Like you get a ball down the middle of the plate, crank it. They were making some of these guys who had 5+ ERAs in the major leagues look like Paul Skeens out there against us, and like go up there and swing the bat, right? And how many pitches, no offense, Paulie, like Judge, not his best showing.
Absolutely. I know.
And he's one, and he's not the only one. I don't want to just pick on him, but they looked at a lot of balls down the plate where even as a former player, I'm like, hit the ball, like put the ball in play. How many strikeouts against middle of the road major league pitchers that were on Venezuela? And listen, someone else said they wanted it more. I kind of agree with that. Look at how exuberant they were after the game was over, right? And I just thought maybe the USA team thought like they just were the USA and we're going to win this game somehow, some way. Even when they came back and tied it, right, on the Harper home run. It even felt like that, and then they give a run in the top of the ninth, a leadoff walk, right, which is a killer in baseball. And so it was disappointing as a citizen of the United States, but like Derek said, right, to the victor go the spoils. They get to write the history of the event when you win it. So I hope in the future years, and I love the event. Maybe we see more like Screwball pitch one game, and just where some of the bigger names all come out and say, let's get this done and play. It's during spring training, so it's kind of like spring training, and they all report back to camp when it ends. So I like the event.
Yeah, I wish they had it like a different time of year, like during All-Star break or something, or something. You know what I mean? I thought right before spring training is for Major League Baseball.
I think if you do it during the All-Star break, number one, you won't have enough time with the pool play. And I think you get less of the name players joining that, because number one, they're either probably in the All-Star game, or if they're not, they're looking forward to that 2 or 3 days to go home and like decompress and then get ready for the second half of the season. But I love the event, and you're seeing some guys that not household names, right, have big days. Dante Nori of Italy, Antonacci, speaking of Italy. So, and I think you could tell some guys were more into it than others, truth be told. And that's obviously on an individual player basis. And
That espresso machine that just recently sold got about 50 times its value. I think it's, if you all seen that, the Italian espresso machine was up for auction on MLB auctions.
Like, now you got little leaguers all jacked up on Lavazza.
Yeah, really.
Going to school.
Somebody has the stream on in the background, so just FYI.
Look at this cigar box.
We're getting an echo of it.
Got here. You got look at that. That's a nice one.
Yeah, I made some WBC cards of the Royals.
Oh, nice.
So there's McKell and Salvi.
Hey, those are great. Oh, they're real cool looking. I love it. No, I know it's hard to find the perfect time of season. I was thinking of it myself. I was like, I still think though I know no one wants to extend the season anymore, but I don't know. I almost kind of feel like even if it was like right at the, there's so much with postseason baseball, but maybe after the season ends, I know there's, the postseason's going on, but maybe it runs alongside of that. I mean, even if it was like, okay, the people who are in the playoffs obviously aren't going to be in it. But maybe people who during the regular season would just, want to keep playing in the postseason October time. Maybe you could run it alongside. Just make it, like a whole big baseball festival at that time. Just because it's hard at the beginning. Because like I saw with the USA team, I don't know if they're not playing their hardest because they don't want to get hurt for the season. They're not going to slide hard into second. But maybe if these games are happening in October. If it's only once every 3 years, it's not like you got to deal with this every time. But a lot of teams that are eliminated, you might want to, still say heck with it. I'm going out there and I'm going to play a little hard because, I got a whole off season ahead of me. But I don't know. I don't know it's never ideal. I think it's hard to. There's always a negative with wherever you put it. But I just love how it's growing internationally. And who knows? I'm always a big fan of, why not get a Mexico City team? I think throw it on there all year round. I think it's, I don't think it's that far of a flight. As far as you got, people, you got the Yankees traveling across to Los Angeles. I mean, Mexico City's right in the middle. It's just a little south. I mean, come on, throw them in there. We got a whole country ready to play ball. I mean, Toronto's still up there, crossing over into, the Canadian territory. We got some big fans in our community. We got Banana Mac. She's definitely been pulling for those Blue Jays there for quite a while. But just want I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think are we ready for a Mexico City team or what?
Yeah. I love those crowds.
Yeah.
What would be the team name? Like you got New York Yankees. Would it be the Mexico City Cartel?
All right. Whoa. Hey now.
I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, we can just adapt one of the teams that are here. I mean, look, who's getting the least fans? That's it. You lost your team. I'd say that.
Tampa Bay. Adios. Tampa.
I don't think we gotta add. I don't think we gotta add a team. I think we just gotta eliminate a team. I mean, come on. We got some teams here struggling. I mean, there's got to be some fandom that's just like, you know what, we give up. We had enough.
We give up.
I mean, the A's don't have a city officially really yet,
right? So they're just the Athletics, aren't they?
Yeah,
well,
I know they were going to wind up in Vegas, but hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, a couple of dresses away from Circus. You're gonna have them playing out there on the strip. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see something full time down there. I think it's just something that the more this stretches out, you just have a ton of interest overall. I mean, we see the games happening. Internationally. This year's different, though, right? We're opening up at San Francisco tomorrow night, Yankees and the Giants. Normally we got a game over somewhere overseas, but Japan? I guess with the World Baseball,
aren't there games in Japan?
I know throughout the season, but normally like the home opener.
Yeah, not this year, not opening
this
day.
year. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year they did that.
Yeah.
Last year they did that. So.
I think the more international, the better, because, every major sport is moving international as much as they can to get more fans. And yeah, I think Mexico City, a Dominican team, and if you could get one in Tokyo would be sick. And I also one of the things I loved about the World Baseball Classic was just seeing the flavor of each country. So, you know, I probably don't know baseball as well as you guys do, but like watching the Dominicans were so much fun. And, you know, people were complaining about it. A lot of people hated it, but I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, man, it's like every home run going to turn into, you know, football when they score a touchdown. Like you're going to get a dance along the way, you know, like these guys they were having fun. They were tearing it up. And like, you know, if Paul Skeens hadn't pitched against the Dominican Republic, they probably would have won the whole thing, you know? So, and you could tell how much it mattered to them. So I think the more international, the better for the sport. And all the other major leagues are doing it and they're going to be competing against it. And when, you know, when everybody was complaining about Bad Bunny in the Super Bowl, or a lot of people were, and that was smart on the NFL's part, right? They were trying to pull in Spanish speaking viewers because they want to have an international sport, and they're playing games in Brazil and stuff like that. So I think the MLB needs to do that. And that's why I think the World Baseball Classic was so great too.
Yeah, I agree. It's so much fun. It was a real treat for us to get, you know, I think right before the season. Just love that everybody came on here tonight, guys. I'm sorry we've been in here for an hour and a half. I could keep going for another hour and a half, but I just want to thank you all so much for coming. This was a ton of fun. I hope you all get ready, get that glove out, start oiling it, you know, get those gloves ready for a little catch. But thank you so much, guys. I want everybody just to, you know, we'll be following each other on social. Make sure to check out all these great collectors here, authors. We got Steel City Collectibles, John Newman of the Sports Card Nation, Derek Snook, Michael Dault with the Long Gone Podcast and Hobby Hustle, Jay Destiny over at the Hive. They also are streaming on at right here on Collectin and Connecting weekly with the Hive stream. And nice flag, nice banner you got back there, by the way. CigarBoxCards, love the custom stuff. It's just amazing. I got a frame myself for my Mickey Mantle reprint set. It's still hanging, looking beautiful. And Ethan Greenberg over at Going Nuclear, also on Collectin and Connecting, streaming weekly on Tuesday nights. And Johnathan Fink, you gotta get them your books. You gotta sign up here for your sports card collectors club. We got some people reading it here, I think, on the stream, right? I've been hearing somebody. Jay Destiny, you ready?
I'm grateful, guys. I appreciate it.
Look at that. We got the hardbound. I got a digital copy. Take a look. It's a fun read. Just, guys, I really appreciate this so much. You're part of the What Do You Collect family over here. Hopefully we'll be doing this again. Who knows when? But thank you so much. Thanks for watching.
Anytime. It was a blast.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank
you. See you guys.
What do
Thank
you
you all
collect?
so much.
Show me your collection. You're my one of one. You're my kind of obsession. My big break. My case hit.